Hello. Welcome to our presentation on perception of level of interaction and academic performance in online courses. My name is Rosa. I'm the Instructional Designer at UTPA.
And my name is Rita Vela. I am also an Instructional Designer here at UTPA. So let's start with a little bit of an introduction. The adoption of online learning continues to increase. In 2011, 6.1 million students were enrolled in at least one online course. 31% of total enrollment at colleges and universities was online, and 65% of colleges and universities have adopted online programs as a strategic move. In regards to students, 62% have found that online courses are about the same as face-to-face in terms of satisfaction, and 79% found it somewhat superior to face-to-face courses in regards to being able to work at their own pace. Several reasons that students choose online versus face-to-face include flexibility and convenience, avoid traffic and long commutes, schedule constraints at work and at home, and they can take courses from anywhere. Reasons colleges and universities are adopting online learning include promise of full online programs, infusion of digital technology in education, rapid conversion to digital textbooks, and the acceptance and use of laptops and digital devices for class. When administrators were asked, faculty at my school accept the value and legitimacy of online education, 32% agreed. 56.5% were neutral. This has remained unchanged between 2002 and 2011.
So the advent of online learning has left many faculty and administrators concerned with the success of students in online courses. Research shows that existing tools do not really predict the academic performance in an online class. I mean, we've all seen those surveys that ask questions such as, is this online learning right for me, and what technical skills do I need? Many studies examine that students' personality traits are as predictors of academic performance. However, there are limited studies extending such research to online courses. And even more so, limited studies exist relating to the student's perception of his or her level of interaction with the instructor. Okay, so our purpose of the study is to identify the relationships between students' perception of his or her level of interaction with the instructor as measured by the leader-member exchange, or LMX7, and the student's post-secondary academic performance in an online course as measured by the number of online discussions with other students and the number of discussions with the instructor, the online sense of community that the student perceived, the quality of the online posts, and the overall satisfaction, or their overall satisfaction of online learning. So here are some conceptual definitions to help us better understand what we're talking about before we really get into it. So let me tell you about leader-member exchange. It focuses on the quality of the dialectic relationship between the leader, the instructor, in this case the instructor, and the follower, in this case the student. So leaders basically assign work based on the relationship with the follower. If the relationship is positive, the leader tends to favor the follower with important work. If the relationship is negative, the leader tends to favor the follower with, or not favor the follower with important assignments. For academic performance, we're talking about post-secondary academic performance, and we measured that with online sense of community, quality of online posts, and the overall satisfaction with online learning. Online course. The majority of the teaching and learning occurs at different geographical locations and is delivered via internet, including technologies such as web, smartphone, or other smart devices. For a course to be considered online, courses must be at least 80% or more delivered via these methods.
So let's talk about the research questions now. We had 3 research questions. The first research question was, is there a relationship between students' perception of his or her level of interaction with the instructor and students' perceived academic performance in an online course when considering gender and age? Research question number 2 is, there a relationship between students' number of posts with other students and students' perceived academic performance? And question number 3, is there a relationship between students' number of posts with instructor and students' perceived academic performance in an online course? The following is the methodology we used. Our independent variables consisted of the one continuous variable measuring level of interaction, which was the leadership member exchange. Then we had 2 continuous variables, which were the number of online discussions with other students and the number of online discussions with instructors. Our dependent variables. We had 3 continuous variables measuring academic performance. These included online sense of community, quality of online posts, and the overall satisfaction with online learning. Our demographic variables. We had gender, age, and we also collected ethnicity and employment status.
Okay, so the instrument we used is an instrument that is used in the business world, and so we measured students' perception of their instructor's level of interaction as measured by the leader member exchange. And what it is, it's a 7-item questionnaire which measures 3 dimensions of leader-member relationship with respect, trust, and obligation. So the instrument is a 5-point Likert scale and uses the following guidelines. So if the student rates his or her instructor between 30 and 35, that's combined score, it means that the student perceives his or her level of interaction with the leader or the instructor to be very high. If that rating was between 25 and 29, their level of interaction or the perceived level of interaction was high. If the rating was between 20 and 24, that meant that the student perceived his or her level of interaction as moderate. If it was between 15 and 19, then they perceived the level of interaction to be low. And if it fell between 7 and 14, then that means that the student perceived their level of interaction very low. So the other instrument we used was for academic performance, and it's something that we put together, and it measures online sense of community using a 5-point Likert scale, quality of the online posts, and then the overall satisfaction with online course. We also collected demographics of gender and age.
Okay, our staffing plan were participants who were enrolled in online courses here at South Texas University. The participation was strictly voluntary and did not affect the student's grade in any manner. Instructors sent the information to their students, which included a consent form, the demographic survey, the LMX, and the academic performance survey. Ethical considerations included anonymity of participation, that they understood that it was strictly voluntary, grade not dependent on whether the students take or don't take the survey, they could withdraw at any time without penalty, informed consent, and IRB approval. So we had 3 null hypotheses. Null hypothesis 1 is there is no relationship between students' perception of his or her level of interaction with the instructor and students' perceived academic performance in an online course when considering gender and age. Null hypothesis 2, there is no relationship between students' number of posts with other students and students' perceived academic performance. And null hypothesis 3 was that there was no relationship between students' number of posts with instructor and students' perceived academic performance. And here's our analysis. We ran a multiple regression. Our dependent variable was academic performance. In block 1, we entered gender and age. In block 2, we entered level of interaction using a stepwise method. In block 3, we entered number of posts with other students. And in block 4, we entered number of posts with instructor. So we wanted to know, do any of these variables predict academic performance? And we found that academic performance can be found with, if there's a relationship between academic performance and level of interaction and number of posts with faculty. Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to share some of the results, some of the tables with you, just so you can either, jot notes down or go back and look at them as you please. I'm not going to cover every single little thing on them. I'm just going to give you an overview of it. So our descriptive statistics, when we surveyed, we ended up surveying 81 male and 138 female for a total of N equals 219. And here's our age with a mean of 31 years old. And I went ahead and put the descriptive statistics up here so you could see the means for level of interaction, academic performance, number of posts with faculty and students, and the age. Okay, and here what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you the correlation between the different variables that we had. And in this case, academic performance, and looking at the significance level of academic performance with the number of posts. I'm going to put my mouse over it, but the number of posts with other students was at 0.046 as opposed to the number of posts with faculty at a really significant level of 0.001. Okay, and here I wanted to show you the R values for the model and the different models that we entered. Was age, gender, and then age, gender, level of interaction, and then we entered age, level, gender, level of interaction, number of posts with faculty, and as you can see, the different changes in R-square as we entered the different variables into it. Okay. And I went ahead and attached the ANOLA table for your reference if you're interested in the analysis part of it. Okay, same thing with the coefficients, and so you can go back and look at that. But basically, what we're looking at is the level of interaction with the faculty as being statistically significant and at 0.000. So I think we came across something of real interest that we could look further into it in the future. Okay, and these are the variables that were excluded from the analysis because they didn't have significance. Okay.
So here are our findings. We reject null hypothesis 1 because there was a relationship between students' perception of his or her level of interaction with the instructor and students' perceived academic performance. We fail to reject null hypothesis 2. There is no relationship between students' number of posts with other students and students' perceived academic performance. And we reject null hypothesis 3. There is a relationship between students' number of posts with instructor and students' perceived academic performance. Some limitations of our findings. We are predominantly a large Hispanic, it was a large Hispanic student sample in the South Texas University the survey was done in. Restrictions on generalizability to populations outside a South Texas-Mexico border region. It was primarily a study of students' perceptions of the level of interaction with his or her instructor. And the study utilized one model of leadership theory, the LMX7, in an academic setting. Our recommendations. Expand the study to measure student personality traits using the 5-factor model, which includes neuroticism, extroversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. Lots of studies tie these 5 things, known as the Big 5, to academic performance, but we'd like to see if there's a relationship between student personality traits to level of interaction and academic performance.
Okay, well, that's going to be our presentation for today. If you need additional information or interested about for more information on this, here's our email, and just contact us directly. Thank you.
We understand the factors that promote college success, the impact of approaches that truly facilitate success and quality, the secret to a solid teaching process for the Hispanic learner, and the key role of technology to make this happen. Hence, an opportunity to propose, find, and integrate innovative technology solutions to education. We go beyond higher education. We strive for a higher vision. Visit us at www.hets.org. HETS Consortium.